It's a new pen day. Hi, this is Nancy with Scathingly Brilliant Idea. Watch along as I open up some goodies from Vanness. Nice little note. A few more inks. And the pen. This is a NAGASAWA special edition. Look at that. I went to the Vanness website to pick up a couple of inks that they did not bring with them to San Francisco, and I wanted to test them out, and I happened to see that they had a few pens on really good price. And so this is a stunning Profit Sailor 1911 long or large. That is a special NAGASAWA limited edition that I will put the full description of in the description box. It's 21 karat gold, and I got it in a zoom nib. I've never tried the zoom nib, and so I'm looking forward to testing it out. And I know that if I don't end up liking it, I can always have this ground, do a custom grind on this. But it's kind of a bluish purple, and there's little flecks of gold in the resin too. And it's just a very yellow gold, and the barrel is metal as well. Okay, I'm moving downstairs because the upstairs lighting just was not giving this pen enough justice. So on this pen, I've referred to it as NAGASAWA, and as you saw, the box said Sailor, and that's because NAGASAWA collaborated with Sailor for this particular pen. And they've had, as they have other pens as well. So the body is a Sailor 1911 or compass, or also called Profit in other markets, which comes in two sizes, the large and the standard. And this is the large one, so it is a little bit longer. And the band has the branding of NAGASAWA on it. If I can try to get the camera to focus on it. There we go. Get the camera to focus on it. You can see NAGASAWA is on the brand, and it says pen style. What is that word? I take my glasses off to see that. Pen style, and it looks like DEN. I'm not sure what that stands for. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments. But I wanted to also show you a better picture of the nib. So the nib is branded NAGASAWA, and it has the year 1882 on it because that's the year NAGASAWA was founded. And it says Kobe here because I'll read you a story behind the genesis of this limited edition pen. And this has ink on it because I've already inked it up, but it says 21 karat and Z for zoom. And because this is limited edition, there were 300 pieces. This is piece 255 out of 300. And you can see all the tipping material a little bit better in this shot. So this is the zoom nib, 21 karat gold on this. So let me read a little bit more about the story of this particular pen, which celebrates the Kyomachi area It's a former settlement of Kobe, is the Kyomachi area where the Kobe City Museum is located. It's a valuable area where you can feel the history of Kobe as well as the arts and cultures of the world. The commemorative 50th series Kyomachi Legend Blue is an attractive color that is well balanced between depth and vividness. So this is a closer up of this particular pen. Such a beauty. And like I said, it's still available in a fine and a zoom at the Vanness pen site. I don't have any affiliation code to provide you, so I don't get anything from promoting this pen. And I don't even know if affiliate codes would apply to this. It's already such a steep discount. So I got this. You may be asking why, because I just picked up a lot of pens at the San Francisco Pen Show. But this is a good deal. I have a tariff story to also tell you that contributed to me getting this from Vanness. And then also just, the price of gold and everything else. I felt that it was something to not pass up because these are only going to go up in price due to a variety of factors. I'm going to test these ink samples. There's only 3 of them, but I also wanted to show you another acquisition I made. And then this I picked up from Atlas Stationers. They had this Pilot E95 on sale. Oh, I got some crud on this. Where's the cloth? So I picked this up because I didn't have one of these, and I've always thought they were very vintage and classy looking. I've seen the burgundy a lot with the silver barrel, but I wanted to pick up this all black version. And this is a 14 karat gold inlaid nib. And that's very classy looking too. And it caps like that, and is a full-size pen to write with. And because of the narrow size of this plotter insert and the pen loop that comes on with the plotter insert, this is just the perfect size to fit within that. So I picked up that, and I picked up this now after the pen show, both Japanese, both gold nibs, at sale prices that were too good to pass up. So let me quickly swatch the inks for you. The inks I wanted were Journalize inks, and Vanness did not bring any to the show. So that's what got me to the website. I wanted to try a couple of those out. And then I picked up another Kobe ink as well. So let me swatch this for you. And this is a shimmer ink, Journalize Glinda. I had seen somebody else use this or swatch this, and I thought, oh, I've got to have that. Have you tried Journalize inks before? I really had never heard of them until just recently. So I'm excited to try this one out. The other Journalize ink I got was the Deep Space Aurora, and this is the one I was thinking I would ink this new pen up with, but now that I have it, it's more of a, I would call that maybe a lapis blue. It's a purple blue, and so I'm going to have to look through my list to see what would make the most sense for that. So I just have this little swatch card book I grabbed, which isn't going to work well if I don't pull it out. So I'll pull it out so I don't mess it up. And we'll give this a swatch. Ooh, look at that. Definitely not going to put it in that new pen, but look how deep of a teal turquoise. It's almost like, is it Kujaku? I would say it maybe reminds me of a little bit, the Pilot E95s. And I don't know if I did a good enough job of the mixing. There's still quite a bit of shimmer down here. Come on. At least it's not the dead of summer anymore, getting ink swatches that are all overheated, or any kind of ink vials or ink bottles that get way overheated. I don't know if this makes a difference picking up more shimmer or not, but this is Journalize Deep Space Aurora. Okay. And then the last one I got was the Kobe sepia, Tano Antique Sepia. Let me scooch these out of the way and get this one going. Ooh, that's a different shade than I expected. It's kind of got a little bit of gold almost in it. It is Kitano Antique. Yeah, and this is a Kobe ink. All right. I will go back and show you close-ups of the ink swatches now that they're dry. So this is the Journalize Deep Space Aurora, and look at all of the sheening on that, the shimmer. Yeah, it's shimmer, actual shimmer. It's kind of like a, I don't know, maybe a greenish shimmer with a teal base. Very pretty. And this is the Journalized Glinda that has this pink with the rose gold look to it. Very pretty. And then this is the Kobe Kitano Antique Sepia, which is coming off kind of black. It's kind of hard to show in this video. See if I get better light. Maybe this way. It almost has some green to it, and some shading, obviously. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. Okay, I found the match. I am going to go with this Ackerman #4 Nassau Splau, Nassau Blue, because that is a pretty darn close match. And I did not show you that also included in that pen box were 2 Sailor cartridges, and then the converter was actually on the pen itself. And I didn't show you the end here, which is the specific identification for this pen. It's the Nagasawa Legend 1911 FL in the Zoom. And as of today, they still have them available in the Zoom and Fine on the Vanness pen site. So let's get started with filling this one up. So this is that pretty bottle of Ackerman I got at the St. Louis Pen Show from Pen Realm, and I am going to ink this up in this pen. So the converter was already installed, and if you don't know it, the Sailors all have proprietary cartridges and converters. So that was nice that it's already included. And this is one of those bottles where there's a reservoir on top. And so if it's empty, you can turn it over and then right side up, and then the ink to fill the pen is all at the neck of the bottle here. So there's already ink up here. I'm going to just open this up and fill it. I usually don't clean my pens out, my new pens out, even though that is a recommendation from many to go ahead and do that. But I also am not one, if I fill directly from the bottle, I'm not one to expel and then refill to get a fuller fill after the initial fill, which a lot of that gets soaked up by the feed and the nib. I'm perfectly fine having a partially filled cartridge or converter, or if I want a full one, I'll typically use a syringe. But I end up with so many pens inked up. I've got to really go through a big cleaning right now. I have a lot of pens inked up right now. So here we've got Tomoe River paper. This is a pocket insert from Galen Leather. So I'm just going to give this a start. Look at that. Wow. Now the zoom nib, from what I understand, will write differently at different angles. So if I do pretty much perpendicular, which is not a very natural way to do it, you get a much finer line here. And if I go, as I angle down, it should show some more variation. But the sweet spot where I typically write is right around here. I don't know if that's a 45-degree angle. And it would be probably a good, decent Western broad, I would say. But this is a interesting nib to have in my collection. I'm not going to grind it right away. I'll get to know it and then decide what to do with it later on. But since it's the same price, you get this much more. The way I look at it, you just get this much more gold material when you get a bigger nib tipping like on this than you would like on the fine that was also available. So I decided to go with the bigger one, more flexible. So that's the Nagasawa Special Sailor Edition. And since I have this out, I'm going to also do a little writing sample of this E95 Pilot that I got in an extra fine. And I currently have this in a cartridge. I looked at a cartridge because I don't like the Pilot converters. This is Shinkai. So Pilot also has its own proprietary converters, as does Platinum. So the Japanese like to have their own proprietary ink mechanisms. So this is the Pilot E95 with an extra fine nib. And this is Shinkai. And this just, all the Pilot nibs just write so well out of the block. You can't really go wrong with them. No problems whatsoever. So this is another addition to my lineup as well. Now for my tariff story. I had purchased this Homo sapiens, Visconti Homo sapiens from Aesthetic Bay at the San Francisco Pen Show. They did not bring all the boxes for all the pens they sold, but he said he would ship it to me for free after the pen show. Of course, as we know, after the pen show, the tariffs became in effect. So Tan, the manager, sent me an advance email notice saying, hey, we're going to be shipping this out to you, this box. I put a value of like $10 on it and said that it was stationary. just a heads up so that you know. So I was surprised to receive a email and a text notification from DHL saying that I had an amount due of $19.10 before they would deliver my item. And there was a link to pay it, and then there was a separate email I got. So I don't know whether I got notified by email and by text because I have an account with DHL and that's the notification settings I've set up. Whereas if you don't, you'll just get an email notification, but whatever. I was really shocked that I would have to pay this much, but I went ahead and paid it because I wanted the box in case I ever wanted to sell this pen. So there was a link to download the detail. So I did that and I saw this breakout here. Look at this. The regulatory charges are $1.31. The duties are 79 cents, and the duty tax processing, which goes to DHL, was $17. And so I paid it, but I downloaded this and I let Tan know. I provided a copy of him and said, hey, just so you know, when you send things to the States now, this is what's being charged by DHL because he paid the shipping. So he already had to pay, I don't know how much to ship an empty box. And then on top of that, to receive the empty box, I needed to pay another $19.10. So I wanted him to be aware if he had a choice of providers, he could maybe shop around for a better broker fee, transaction fee that would be assessed. So he was so very kind. He says, oh, I had no idea. This was, all new. You were the first one I had to do this with. Let me refund you the difference. So he refunded the entire amount that I was out of pocket, and was ever so grateful for him to do that. It was not, it shouldn't be on him to do that, but just buyer be warned. It will make me think twice about purchasing anything that's now going to have customs on top of it, because instead of just thinking about what the custom tax would be and maybe a small processing fee, you get stuck with a pretty high processing fee. And I've since listened to the Pen Addicts, Brad's podcast, where he had a similar situation where he got stuck with a high processing fee, and there the shipper was somebody different. So just be on the lookout for that. I guess everybody's got to make a buck on the situation to make matters worse. So buyer be warned. In the meantime, look for more deals on existing inventory among U.S. sellers if you're in the market for pens that are manufactured from other countries. Thanks. Talk to you next time.